So thanks so much for tuning in. My name is Alex Vanetsky, and I'm a RE/MAX agent in the Greater Toronto Area. And this is the first episode in what I hope to be a weekly video series where I look at different property types throughout the Greater Toronto Area, and I just make some comparables about, getting into those properties or what I'm kind of noticing or things that just kind of like stand out to me as a real estate agent. I would really appreciate your support with these videos. So if you can, click below to subscribe and hit the thumbs up like button, I would really very much appreciate that. So for this video series, what I wanted to focus on is actually looking at some alternative property ownership types. So what I'm going to be comparing today is owning a freehold townhome versus owning a very comparable condo townhome. And I was able to find some really good examples of that in Richmond Hill. So this is the Yonge and 16th area. There's quite a few townhouses in this area. This area is called Langstaff, or by some it's known as Bayview Glen. And, there's a lot of freehold townhomes in this area. There are a lot of detached homes, semis, and there are some condo options as well. But, a really good example of what I want to talk about, I was able to find on Northern Heights Drive. So in this area, there are a couple of condo buildings. There are freehold townhomes all along Vanity Drive here. And then there are condo townhomes all along Northern Heights Drive here. And, for the purposes of doing this example, why I think this is a really good example of what I'm trying to kind of demonstrate here is that these condo townhomes and freehold townhomes were built around the same time. And for the most part, they're very comparable. For this, I'm going to be looking at a freehold end unit townhome. This is a property on Vanity Crescent. This sold over the summer. This is about a 1,600 square foot end unit townhome, which has been upgraded and renovated. There's been the basement has been finished. This has 3 bedrooms, a finished basement, and 3.5 baths with a pretty spacious backyard. This is a property that sold in just 5 days in a very highly in-demand area, but with a price tag that for many first-time buyers or maybe people that are going from condo into a house is a price tag that might be a little bit challenging to attain. So this home sold for $1.268 million, and now as we're getting into September and the fall market and interest rates have also come down, a property like this would easily sell for $1.3 million plus. And the 2 other properties that I wanted to kind of compare this to are 2 end unit condo townhomes that are just across the street at Northern Heights Drive. This is a townhome which is about 1,500 square foot. Also has some updates and renovations, but it's not as nicely finished. The kitchen is not an open concept kitchen like at Vanity Drive. The bathrooms also haven't been updated. It looks like they've done some flooring, upgraded some lighting, but there are a lot of things that I see here that are, pretty original. And what I mean original is kind of the way that the builder completed it back in the early 2000s. You can see these closet doors, see the bathroom. It's a little bit dated, but one thing that really stands out to me is the price tag. So this is this townhome sold in 7 days for $925,000. And mind you, it does have maintenance fees. So this townhouse has $562 a month maintenance fees, but they do include water. So, that does offset the cost of some of that. And when you're living in a condo townhome, things like landscaping are not on you, they're on the condo corporation. In fact, this townhouse doesn't even really have a backyard. I mean, it has this kind of portion here, which you can see with the backyard tiles, but the grass, all of that is all common elements. But, and also the basement hasn't been finished. But, mind you, the price tag is substantially different and much more attainable. So to just give you an example, if you're going to be buying a property which is going to be $925,000 and you're going to be residing there as your principal residence, for your down payment, you need substantially less than for a property that's over $1 million. So the first $500,000 of the purchase price is at 5%. Anything between $500,000 and $999,000 is 10%. So realistically, I don't have a calculator here, and I don't want to open one on my computer, but I believe you can get into this property with a down payment of about $80,000, while for the one that sold on one vanity, the entire purchase price has to be 20% down, even if it's a principal residence, because the sold price is over $1 million. So you're going to need well over $200,000 to purchase that property, and not to forget about the not to forget about the much higher mortgage payments as well, which I'm going to just show here in a sec. So this is a mortgage calculator of RBC. I didn't factor in the down payment, but they're kind of very apples to apples comparison. They're both 25 years with a 4.84 interest rate, which is a pretty good interest rate. And for today's market, I see people qualifying a little bit closer to 5 mostly, but kind of depending on your debt to earnings ratio and how much you earn and your expenses, you may be able to qualify for this or even less. But for $925,000 versus $1.26 million, we're looking at a monthly payment difference of almost $2,000 a month. It's very substantial. I mean, even if let's say you're telling me, okay, Alex, I'm going to need to put $200,000 for this property. So if we kind of change this from 1.26 to, let's say, $1 million mortgage, and then we're going to change the other one, let's say we're putting $80,000. So let's change this to, okay, let's say $85,000. So let's change this to $840,000 mortgage. And we kind of run that calculation. The difference is still about $1,000 a month, not to mention that you have to have that huge amount of down payment to be able to put down as well. So the point I'm kind of trying to make here is that there are different opportunities for property ownership. And if you're just looking to get into a townhouse in a certain area, you maybe want to look at something that is very comparable by property type. You're in the same area, maybe you're lacking the backyard, but is much more attainable. So I know there's a lot of stigma against condo properties. People want to have a freehold property. They want to own the land that it's on. But when you're looking at a townhouse, I mean, even the changes that you can make to it are very, very minimal. And, you're getting into virtually what I believe to be a very comparable property, minus the backyard, but at the same time, without the lawn care. You're paying a maintenance fee, but water's included. You're putting a third of the down payment down, and you're still able to move out of a apartment or a condo, or out of your parents' home into a house in Richmond Hill or Yonge and 16. So there are a lot of good opportunities that exist like this, and oftentimes people don't even know whether it's a condo or freehold property when they're just kind of looking at it. And just something to kind of think about. I'm not saying that one option is better than the other option. They're both completely different in some ways and very similar in others, but one is much more attainable than the other, and still very highly in demand. You're still going to be able to get that appreciation, instead of waiting potentially additional years to save up that down payment, or having to sell your condo that you're living in to be able to get that down payment. Here's an opportunity where you can potentially get a condo townhouse, whether you are buying that 2 years earlier or you're turning your condo that you're living in now into an investment property. You're able to kind of capitalize on that. My name is Alex. Like I mentioned, I'm a RE/MAX agent. Thank you so much for watching. This is the first episode, so it's a little bit choppy, but I would really appreciate it if you can hit subscribe, give me a thumbs up, share your comments below, and I'll see you next week when I look at some other property comparables in the Greater Toronto Area market.